Well, hello, and welcome to Stop, Let's Team Up. I'm Ross Aiken, I'm your host, and welcome to another little sideshow. This will be the sister show to My Legion Adventures, but with a Marvel team. And I put up 4 names. I put up the Fantastic Four, the Defenders, New Warriors, which I'd never read, but I let you guys vote, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Someone really wanted me to do the 90s run. I want to do the 90s run. But I might just find, if you're out there and you want to talk about it and you want to come on the show, you don't mind being on a podcast, or you're on a podcast and you're trying this out, and you love the Guardians of the Galaxy, I would love to do a show with you about it. So, but that's it. That has nothing to do with this, except you all voted, and the Defenders won. And that's mostly due to the Defenders campaign manager, Mr. Ron Fleming, from the Fantastic Comic Fan. He was a great campaign manager, and he got the win for the Defenders. And the title of this new series will be called Those Daring Defenders. Kind of a very bad play on those daring young men in the flying machines. But I liked it. We're going with it. So let's just roll. But first I want to talk about how this one's going to work. It's not going to be any different than Legion. I'm going to go, I'm using first and foremost my reading order based on Essentials Volume 1 of the Defenders. I have all of the Defender Essentials and all the Avenger Essentials because it was the cheapest way to maintain a run. They never did the final batch of issues in an Essential, so I had to buy the issues because I read the Defenders religiously from issue 13, which was the Defenders versus the Squadron Sinister, and it's where Nighthawk comes in, and that's the first one I remember reading. So we're going to get to that eventually, but that's how I became a Defenders fan, and I read it up until the Angel, Beast, and Iceman join. So I've never read the tail end, but I know people like it, and you know what? This is going to be a long journey, and we're going to start at the beginning. But as I said, I'm going to use the Essentials as my guide. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes before we get to the first Marvel fanfare, which is the first appearance of the Defenders. But we're going to see the Defenders being built because I've read this Essential a while ago, and it didn't really stick because I kind of really just went to Marvel Feature 1 and started there. But I'm going to start here because this is starts with the last issue of the original Doctor Strange series. It was abruptly canceled due to couldn't maintain sales. He is still at the beginning wearing the mask, and he is under the identity of Dr. Stephen Sanders, which was something where they wanted to give him more a superhero feel. And then that goes into, that storyline finishes in Submariner, issues 24, 34, 35, and Incredible Hulk 126, which has a guest appearance by the Avengers, my team, my Marvel team. So I'm excited. There's some great art in here. There is some Gene Colan. There is some Marie Severin. There is some Bill Everett. There is some Sal Buscema. There is joy when it comes to the art, and some great writing. The beginning of this is Roy Thomas, and then we get to Steve Gerber. Inside this volume alone is the Avengers Defenders War, which is going to be a joy to do because it is it's something that I missed it, and then my brother put all the issues together for me and handed them to me and sat there and we talked about it, and it's just there's a lot of good memories in these early Defenders for me. It's where my love of Keith Giffen is really cemented before he even gets to Legion, because he does some issues in this and they're stunning, and I'll share that art as we get to it. But we're going to start this first episode. I just want to say this is a team. It's a non-team because they never really are formally a team, blah blah blah. They're a team. It's the catch. This book has many identities. It is a standard superhero team. It is a quasi-comedic run. It is a magical one. It is a soap opera. It has great characters that wouldn't have been anywhere else. Nighthawk, Valkyrie, This is my Valkyrie, and I like all the other Valkyries that have come after, but I love this Valkyrie. She is such a great character. I feel for her. She's, the fish out of water. It's trying to be feminist. It doesn't succeed a lot of the time, but I like Val. I like the interactions. I think I say this in the Legion one and other ones, that there are certain things that are earned in relationships with these characters. Sometimes they overstay their welcome. There's some great side. There's just a lot of stuff going on that I found very entertaining. I liked Nighthawk. He's a bit of a putz. He's like Hawkeye with zero cool and a lot of money. So that's why I kind of like him. Those are the characters I like in books. I like Green Arrow. I like Element Lad. But then I like Block and Timberwolf. It's, I like those relationships. I like the friendships and those things that grab me. And this has a lot of it. I've never been a big Submariner fan, and he's not in it as much. And I know him more as an Avenger because he's in that Amazing Roger Stern thing. I am a Hulk fan, but I have... this is my Hulk, because I really have only read certain runs a little bit. I've read The Immortal Hulk, which was genius writing, and I read a lot of the Bill Mantlo stuff with Sal Buscema art. Oh my God! And I have thumbed through a lot of the Severance stuff, the Trimpe Severance stuff, because that's gorgeous. But I don't never read it. So if this was just a single superhero team book, I would probably do a Hulk run. But this is where I'm going to get my Hulk, and I'm going to share with you what I thought about it. So again, we're going to start with Doctor Strange 183, but I want to give a little background on the Defenders. So the basis is this story comes from the creation of the Defenders comes from the fact that there were 2 crossover arcs by Roy Thomas prior to this team up. In Doctor Strange 183, we're going to cover Submariner 22 and Hulk 126. This is all comes together because Doctor Strange was canceled, and it left Thomas with he wanted to resolve the storylines. So he has Doctor Strange teams up with Submariner and the Hulk to protect the Earth from this interplanetary creature, the Undying Ones and the Nameless Ones, which will come back. Barbara Norris is introduced in this, and she will eventually become the host body of Valkyrie. All this, and then in Submariner 34 and 35, Namor enlists the aid of Silver Surfer and Hulk, and they battle a mad scientist on a small island, dictator, whatever, and they face the Avengers, but they're called under the name the Titans 3. And then December 1971, Marvel Fanfare, and that is the first issue of the Defenders. And it's Roy there, and then it's going to transition in the Defenders, and Englehart and Sal Buscema take over. I think this is why I love it, because I love Steve Englehart. I love Roy, and I will say this: Roy is the greatest super team writer, or he's the father of the modern super team, and I respect the hell out of him, and I read everything he does when it comes to super teams, because it's pretty much flawless, except his Legion, but that's another story. But I read Englehart Avengers were my first Avengers, and that's the gold standard for me, is Steve Englehart as a comic writer. I like his Batman with Marshall Rogers is my favorite. The only Doc Strange run I ever read was his and Marshall Rogers. I read his Silver Surfer starts with Marshall Rogers. His Justice League is great. If I see his name on it, I'm going to give it a shot, and I've never been disappointed. So that's how this is how we get to the Avengers being created. And there are other people. You're going to have Steve Gerber. You're going to have David Anthony Kraft, Ed Hannigan, Roger Silver, a lot of famous people. Keith Giffen gets his start in here, and he does a story with when Moon Knight's one of the members. And it's just great. And there's a 2-page spread, which has been on my, it's a screensaver, where it's Valkyrie, Hellcat, Moon Knight, Nighthawk, and Red Guardian 2 coming at you, and they're battling Scorpio. It's great. But that's down the road, too. But we're going to get into Doctor Strange 183. So let me get to the little page with the vital statistics so I can read it to you. Here we go. Wow, wow, wow. Love the interwebs. Okay. It is Doctor Strange. 183. Its cover date is November 1969. The name of the story is They Walk by Night. It stars Dr. Strange, Stephen Strange. Guest supporting character, Clea Wong. A guy named Kenneth Ward, who's very important. The antagonists are the Undying Ones, who will be reoccurring, very, very, very important to Defender's history. You've got monsters, demons, you've got Icon, you've got all this stuff going on. It takes place in Greenwich Village in the Doctor Strange's mansion, which is, you all know from this Doctor Strange movie, his Sanctum Sanctorum. And it's great. Let me give you the little synopsis from the Marvel database. One night, Doctor Strange receives a telegram asking for help from an old associate named Kenneth Ward. He is perplexed to see that it is addressed Stephen Sanders. Investigating, he realizes that eternity had changed reality so that Stephen's name was different. In order to protect his secret identity, the secret identity of the Sorcerer Supreme. Traveling to Kenneth's home, Stephen is shocked to find Kenneth now has hired staff. Visiting his weak friend, Strange learns that while Kenneth was exploring the Himalayan mountain range, he found an idol of the Undying Ones, and that he's been haunted and ill ever since. Realizing the hired help are really demons under the employ of the Undying Ones, Strange battles them and eventually kills them by exposing them to sunlight. The effort is too little, too late, as Kenneth dies during the battle. However, Stephen vows to stop the Undying Ones' evil from polluting the earthly realm. This is the last issue of this book, and we're going to learn more about it. I think the comic's great. I think it's a great issue. It's gorgeous. It is Gene Colan. And, oh, wait a minute. I have not given you all the credits. Let me give you all the credits. Writer, Roy Thomas. Penciler, Gene Colan. Inker, Tom Palmer. Letterer, Gene Izzo. They do not credit the colorist, which is sad because the colors are beautiful and vibrant and amazing. I read it in black and white, and I also went on the app. It's on the app. It is worth reading. It's a beautiful digital print of it with very vibrant colors. But Gene Colan's, oh my God, it's Gene Colan. I don't know how to talk to you about this because he is so good. He's good at everything, and he's done so many great comics that I've loved. His Batman, his Avenger issues in the 60s. Like the number 60s of the original run, when Clint first becomes Goliath. It's great. It's dark and moody, and if you've never read it, and you can find copies, him and Marv Wolfman created a horror detective kind of supernatural teen book in the 80s, about the same time that Marv was creating the Titans, called Night Force, and Gene was the artist, and it's amazing. But this is just wonderful, and there's so much stuff going on. And it is a big cliffhanger. But he has had this secret identity for a few issues, and where he wears a mask over his head. It is what it is. I think they were just trying to get more boost sales by having more of a comic book superhero kind of vibe to it. So, but I think it's a cool design, and I've always liked it. And I've always found the cover of the issue where he first does it, I've always wanted a big poster of it because it's a cover I really, really love. But this is good. It sets up a lot of stuff. It's a very early 70s comic, and that's cool. It's heavily plotted. I think one reason I've never really read Doctor Strange there, and it's kind of why I don't read a lot of Thor, is especially when Roy's doing it, and that's not a bad thing, but he talks and now the ghosts of glory, whatever, the Undying Ones. It's very melodramatic. It's very quasi-Shakespearean. It's B-movie narration. And it fits. And I enjoy it. But it's not something I've always gone out and read. But I really love this one. The Undying Ones, I mean, I cannot say how they are so important to their history. They come back every time. I think they bring back this title or something, they bring it back. They just finished a series, which was great. with Javier Rodriguez, I think is the artist, and Al Ewing writing. Al Ewing, that's a good thing. And they're doing another one called Defenders Beyond with other characters, and it's gorgeous. But this is great, and I'm glad I'm going to go through these issues because it's going to be a slow build. It's kind of like, unlike the Legion where it was just some guest starring, Roy's telling the story in order. And this is the prologue or the prequel book, and it's going to be fun. There's some great scenes in this. Let me thumb through. Hold on. I have to look at the black and white copy because that's what I've got in front of me. There's just so much stuff coming on. The Page of Eternity it's a full page spread, and it's Eternity creating the costume version of him and all the names changing. The telephone. It's just so. What is it? Page 6, where this telegram comes mystically, and he flies off and disguises himself. And there's this thing where the butler's like, "Well, it's too late for you to go home." It's like, what is this? Some English murder mystery book? It's New York, man. Just call a cab. It's 10 minutes from his house. But it's very much the old school kind of detective or horror novels, the pulp stuff, very pulp and. The dynamic, the heavy. Palmer's heavy inks in this are so perfect. Stephen on page 9 goes into Kenneth Ward's thing. And there's a deep shadow, so you only see half of Stephen. And then you're seeing from behind Stephen facing Kenneth Ward, and you see all but his head, and his head is obscured in dark. And you don't see his face until, like, on page 10, like 4 panels in, because Stephen uses the Eye of Agamotto to show the shadowed face and make its bearer speak only truth. I'll read it to you. Ward is telling me he doesn't remember sending for him. And then in Thought Bubbles, thought balloons are cool and should still be in comics. Okay, end of rant. But there's great. It's Stephen thinking, I'm gonna do a Stephen Strange imitation, and I'm forcing myself not to do the one that my variation of the one Hub does on Tighten Up the Defense. I want you to like this podcast about the Defenders, but I also would like you to check out Tighten Up the Defense, because the Hub and Corey cover the Teen Titans and the Defenders, and I love it when they do a Defenders issue, and I love it when they make fun of Stephen Strange. Hub does a great voice, and it's worth the price of admission. So I will also give them a shout out on this. So here is Stephen's thought puzzle. I feared as much. If Kenneth has been drugged or worse, I'll let the Eye of Agamotto render a spell which only I can see. Show me that show me that shadowed face, and make its bearer speak only truth to me. Kenneth Ward, you have sent a telegram stating it was urgent I visit you. Why did you send the message, Kenneth? Why? I remembered nothing. It's just great. Stephen's very cool. He's wearing his turtleneck. And a turtleneck and a waistcoat and a sports jacket. He's a very model of fashion. He changes into it gets very dynamic on page 14 and 15. It's where he's reading Kenneth Minds, and Kenneth Ward is in the caves, and he finds the Undying Ones, and they take control of him after a battle. And there's an idol with them. The layouts. Gene Colan uses smoke as the panel dividers because it's a memory. It's ethereal. And then it's a lot of cross-angled. He doesn't do the traditional boxes. They're odd shapes, and they overlap. And you'll have 4 panels on some pages, 6 on others. It is so dynamic and so amazing that I think you really need to read it. I enjoy this one. It's just the prologue to a novel. I think a lot more goes on in the Submariner and the Hulk stuff, and that'll be interesting. And then, in about 2, we're going to do this once a week. In about a month and a half, 2 months, we will get to the Marvel feature, and we're going to get going. And maybe I'll have some guests come in and talk about. We'll do longer episodes about certain issues. If you have a favorite Defender issue and you want to come on, shoot me a DM. Or send me an email at stopletsteamup@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter at JSA4E. That is JSA, the number 4, the letter E. And please check out my two Doctor Who podcasts, Gallifrey's Most Wanted and The Runcible Report, where you can find them at Gallifrey's Most Wanted at Libsyn. Forget what at Libsyn.com, but you can find us on Twitter at Gallifrey's MW Pod. But this is just the beginning of the Defenders. I will probably go into more detail about single issues. This one is just so very basic. Let's see if there are any weird trivia. I'm going to look for some weird trivia. No, just that this was the finest issue and of Doc Strange and the beginning of the Defenders. So I'm Ross Aiken. Thank you for coming. Hey, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening, and I hope you're back next week for Submariner 22 with some lovely Marie Severin art. Read if you want to read ahead. That's your homework. That's my homework. But until then, why don't y'all be smart, be kind, and read some comics.